Yo, what's up? With all the spotlight recently focusing on how badly Gaijin mismanages Enlisted, especially the events, I thought it's a good idea to look at how good events were in the past, specifically how good the event squads were that you could win. Yes, for all the new players in this game, there was a time when you could regularly expect event squads. Basically every big event, every month, every 2 months, gave out one or more event squads. And these ranged from just nice to have to actually good to insanely good must-haves. And we're going to take a look at all of them now. Keep in mind, these are the squad from the last 3.5 years. I also have some older squads. I think after spending like 7 million on the basically everything I ever had on the loot boxes to get the old squads that I was missing, also some of the new ones where I didn't play in the events, I accumulated almost all event squads. If I don't have one, you can ignore it because the ones I'm missing are not good ones, so it doesn't matter. Alright, so we start with the Soviets. We just go in the order of Gaijin. Yeah, so we're gonna do it quickly to not waste too much time. There are some bad ones or just inconsequential ones. Bad doesn't mean they're not directly bad, it just means you don't need to have them. I'm gonna split them up into okay, bad or weak squads, medium to good squads, and then really must-have squads. This, Halloween event squad was okay, it's not bad, it's not good either. Keep in mind it has the Universal Engineer, as most of these squads have, so this is always a good upside. Also, this one has the fun factor of having insane yellow perks. But yeah, you had stuff like the gas truck, the Soviet flak, basically like a flak bus, but not like the German 88mm. This one's a 25mm with no armor at all, open, completely open, and yep, but it can shoot down stuff, at least on low BR. So yep, nice to have. Then there was this Mosin squad that allowed you to use a cool Shalokov anti-tank rifle. Not strong, sadly, but still quite fun. And, well, going to the more useful ones, you had this rocket artillery squad that could call rocket artillery. Here it is. The rocket artillery, when it came out, was actually good. It hits faster, it starts faster. It starts around 10 seconds after calling it, instead of starting around 15 to 20 seconds. And the rockets can penetrate tanks. And I remember right after rocket artillery was introduced, I uploaded a short where I killed a King Tiger with it. Now, that was sadly nerfed. And now rocket artillery is straight up worse than normal artillery because it's weaker. It doesn't have the cool, quite reliable tank destruction mechanism. And it's, well, the only thing it still has is just starting faster, but that's all. So yeah, these squads got quite neutered for all nations. Then there was this squad, the Green Amoeba squad. Well, I tried playing it once. It's okay, nice to have. Keep in mind, you can see the squad is very old by the fact that it came with only 4 dudes. So this squad was straight up unplayable in the past, and it had to receive 2 extra slots. Then, this squad I remember 1.5 years ago or so. Very cool looking camo. If it was more realistically animated, it would be actually insanely cool. It looks more like some, well, random kiddie Fortnite game, but still quite cool. And this squad came with an assault rifle, BR5, RT-44, very close to the AS-44, maybe a bit better, not sure. But this is a good squad. Here's the thing. The squads so far were inconsequential. They don't change anything. This squad, though, changes a lot. If you're a new player and you open up this, if you win this in an event or grind it, you will be very happy because now you have a very strong, viable squad. You can put in a second engineer to have 2 engineers that can quickly build all these cool structures, and you have 5 dudes with assault rifles. This is very similar to the Assault Engineer squad. Yeah? And Yep. Only downside is it doesn't have vitality. It comes with a vitality penalty. No, sorry, it has vitality. Sorry, my mistake. Yeah, very good squad. This is a high quality squad. I would play it myself. The problem is, I have some of the other insanely overpowered squads that are also here in this list. So there's not even room for this, because the Soviets are the nation that received by far the most overpowered stuff. But still, insanely strong squad. And once again, every new player's dream. Getting stuff like that means you don't actually have to buy a BR5 squad anymore, because this is all you need. It's just insanely strong, you can instantly play a BR5. Only problem is you can't remove these things, so you're locked into BR5, but still, very, very good. Then, the famous assault engineers. Now this squad is overpowered as hell, because you can give them BR1 rifles, you can give them BR2 semi-auto rifles, you can give them BR3 semi-auto rifles, you can give them BR5 rifles, and you can also give them assault rifles that are usually only available for assaulters, not for normal engineers, because they're assault engineers, as the name implies. This is insanely strong. You get all the structures and ampullomets. And they came, I think they even came with the Fedorovs. Yes, I think they came with the Fedorovs. So that was ridiculous. Even if they didn't come with the rifles, doesn't matter. A squad with 6 engineers and good stats, and every engineers, it's basically better than normal. These are better than normal assaulter squads, because you can have basically 6 assaulters instead of just a few, because everyone gets an assault rifle. And it's perfectly flexible. This is basically as good as a squad can get. You cannot get that much power and also that much flexibility in any other way. Yeah, so this is peak. This is absolutely peak. When these squads were released, everyone instantly wanted assault engineers for Americans and Japanese too. Now there might be some historical limitations to that. Americans definitely you can find some squads that resemble assault engineers. For the Japanese, I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's true, just because I don't know much about Japanese in World War II. So we're still waiting. Allegedly, there were premium squads that are a substitute for that, though. Well, guess what? People want event squads, not fucking premium squads. If these two nations already got 2 as assault engineers. So yeah, these are the legendary assault engineers that everyone dreamed about. And yeah, speaking of peak, it gets even better. This is a paratrooper squad, yes, what every new player absolutely wants. Paratroopers got nerfed twice, making them much slower, much slower to use. And now they're strong, but they're not as overpowered as people think. Because if you have a close rally, you can just spawn these dudes and unleash 6 assaulters straight into the enemy lines, without giving them 1 minute interruption, where your team has basically 1 player less on the battlefield for 1 minute. So yeah, paratroopers aren't that strong or that overpowered, but they're still strong. Now, guess what's the best way of the best type of paratrooper squad? Paratroopers that can change their weapons. You can give these dudes, once again, as with the assault engineers, all types of weapons, but where the assault engineers are limited to rifles and assault rifles only as a special, these dudes can have, well, some rifles, even BR2 semi-auto rifles they can use. I didn't even know that. Oh no, sorry, they can use... that's ridiculous. They can use all the rifles. What the fuck? They can literally use all the rifles in the game. Damn. You can give them SMGs and assault rifles too. So this is the most flexible paratrooper squad in the whole game. This is basically rule breaking, because no normal paratrooper squads can choose their weapons. You're stuck with the weapon that you get. This squad can have everything. By the way, there's a direct copy in the research tree that you can buy. There's a Soviet paratrooper squad that has the same. That costs, I don't know how much. Well, whatever it costs, I guess $30 or $40. Here's the fun part. The premium squad is also by definition the best possible premium paratrooper squad in the game. But, ironically enough, it's also, if you have this squad, the least useful one. Because this squad does the same for free. It's ridiculous, yeah? And all paratrooper squads get the same boxes, yeah? So, yeah, this is also insanely high quality. Insanely high quality. And yeah, guess what? If you played in a time where Enlisted gave out these types of squads as prizes in events, you were living the good times. Yep, these were the good old days. And now, as you might have guessed from the short that I released today, this is the NKVD Thompson squad. Yep, why NKVD with Thompsons? Because the Soviets bought a bunch of Thompsons before the war from the Americans, and insanely thick 100 round magazines. Very cool looking, very fun, perfect fire rate, 100 bullets, very low recoil, good precision, insanely high recoil control, so these things literally have zero recoil. Only downside is the muzzle velocity, but if that wasn't a little nerf, these things would be basically the best weapon in the game. So, and great perks. So insanely good squad. And keep in mind, universal engine, yes, you can build all the stuff you want, and straight up insanely fun. Like, this is by far one of the most fun squads in the game. You just run in and you don't run out of bullets, because you have 100 bullets plus 100 reserve, but you don't even need to reload because you switch to your other 100 round weapon, and then you basically have 200 bullets you can quickly shoot, and after everyone is dead on the battlefield, you just reload your first weapon, switch to the other, reload again, tada, you have 200 bullets again. Yep, this is the Soviet Bison Enlisted. Guess what? Insanely overpowered squad with a weapon that the Americans are not even allowed to dream of. Yes. And these two insanely overpowered squads. So yeah, this is the Soviet life. Now looking at the Americans, by the way, did I leave something out? Nothing. Now for the Americans, we have some random little cool squads. We have this fuel tank plane, which was quite cool. Problem is, this plane was actually playable. And dropping this big fuel tank was also quite fun. Because you drop it on the battlefield, it burns, and it's not as strong as bombs. Yeah, but that's what makes it fun. It's a different mechanic that you can try out. And you're basically denying enemies to get on this area. Well, if enemies insist on getting on the burning area, well, then they just get burn damage. But yeah, it was cool. You could drop it on tanks, especially open top tanks, and despite getting few kills, every single kill that you got was still fun, because, well, if you're used to killing 20 dudes with HVARs, you're getting used to it. But if you're only getting 1 or 2 kills with this thing, and then sometimes you get 5, you're instantly excited. Yeah, so that was cool. Problem is, Gaijin nerfed this fuel tanks, or the fire mechanics in general, and you basically never got any kills anymore. Yeah, so yeah, and it also taking off from carriers, which is a problem in the Pacific, and you also, yeah, but still quite a good plane for a new player, especially if you don't want to get straight into BR5. Just BR3, insanely good. Yeah. Then you also got this French partisan squad, which was also really good because you get a 15 round SMG in BR3. I used to play it, I took it out. Keep in mind you can combine it with an SMG. So you basically have a mid-range, mid to long range semi-auto rifle, and then you just put on some random Thompson for short range, and tada, you have a perfect mix. In every situation, you're perfectly prepared. Yeah, this was also quite a cool squad. I was quite excited about getting them in the past. Also, you can give them cool blue-looking outfits. Yeah, you see, like, very interesting. Then, here it starts. Paratroopers, yes. Here we have BR2 paratroopers. I wasn't too, well, fond of this weapon, but still, an M1 carbine with a bayonet, quite useful. And if you don't have any paratroopers, once again, for BR2, very good. And even playable in the higher BRs, at least BR3. Since paratroopers scale with the BR, like the paratrooper box scales with the BR, it's not much of a problem if you play a BR2 paratrooper squad in BR3, because the box still will be good enough. Playing this in BR4, yeah, that wouldn't be good, because then your weapon clearly is weak, but playing a squad easily, 1 BR higher, still very good value. Very good value. And there was also this old paratrooper squad that has an SMG also fine. Theoretically, if you played both events, now you have 2 paratrooper squads. And you can go paratrooper maxing with the Americans, because they are the nation with the most paratrooper squads, ironically enough. Well, then recently we got this squad, the Chinese Leo Rifle squad, with quite a good, actually a very good semi-auto rifle for BR2. Semi-auto rifle with high damage and 6 rounds. You don't get like something like that usually, with good shot deviation. And also an engineer and an anti-tank gunner. You don't get that specialist distribution in rifleman squads for events usually. This is a very good high quality squad, also with good perks. Yeah, that was a good squad. Definitely nice to have. Then this squad I like to use I got from the loot boxes. Very cool machine gun, just overall fun to play. I think it's also Australian or from New Zealand. Whatever. Just a couple 100 kilometers apart, but still. Then one of my favorite squads ever, I got it right when I started playing the game, the Silenced 10 squad. Yes, there was a time when Gaijin understood that silenced weapons are fun and people love them, and if you want to make sales or make many people happy, you give them silenced guns. Problem is, 2025 Gaijin went full retard and literally removed silenced weapons from the tech tree because a bunch of dumbfuck butthurt idiots whined about a silenced PPSH being too strong. Yes, bunch of dumbfucks who are too retarded for anything in life, except for Reddit, looked at the PPSH and said, "Oh no, if this weapon isn't really played anymore because the 2 other guns, the assault rifles, are just insanely stronger, and make this weapon on BR5 unplayable." Putting a silencer on that, or suppressor, doesn't change much. It barely changes the power. It makes it better, yes, but it's still worse than 2 fucking overpowered assault rifles. It's still no matter how much you buff a weapon like that, the further off which is the strongest weapon in the game, or most unfair weapon in the game, is still fucking infinitely stronger. Just look at the numbers, and you will understand how insanely unfair this weapon is. Nope, those idiots thought, oh no, you can't have silencers on weapons because this is power creep. And this is when I understood there's no hope for a game where idiots literally can dictate the game design inside and outside of Gaijin, who don't understand basics of math. If you add a weapon that's stronger than a weaker alternative, and now people play the silenced PPSH instead of these 2 monsters, the power level drops, because yeah, there's a good weapon now, but it's weaker than what is currently played. So implementing a stronger version of this gun decreases power creep. Yes, but this is simple to understand, but nope, not for some dumb fucks in this community. So yep, that's why weapons like these are rare nowadays, even though everyone wants them. And yeah, and the good thing is, this used to be a BR2 squad, then it got dropped to BR1, and now this is one of my favorite squads in the game to play. Insanely fun to play, insanely fun squad, very cool, of course, as a universal engineer, and it's just cool. It's the famous SAS troops in the Tunisian campaign. Yeah, very, very nice. Very nice. And we also have the universal carrier. Some people love it. I would say it's overrated, but it's definitely a good thing. Not because of the weapons, even though they're okay. It's because it's very fast and very small, and you can get everywhere very quickly, and you can hide yourself. And this thing is tanky as fuck. It's hard to kill. So, yep. This is, if you want to be actually tactical in your gameplay, this is a perfect APC. Very rare premium event APCs. Very rare. Also, I would say paratroopers, APCs, and silenced weapons are the 3 favorites of players in this game. Absolutely rightfully, absolutely cool, because they are just very good. And then we get a squad that's so good it's actually unbelievable. A paratrooper squad that you don't just play because it's a paratrooper squad. No, you also play it because of the weapon, because you get an overpowered as fuck weapon. You get a Vickers machine gun, 100 rounds, no recoil at all. Look at these numbers. This means no recoil. And fucking 1000 fire rate. And insanely good muzzle velocity. This thing is shredding everything you see. And it had worse stats in the past. This thing got buffed, I think, twice. At least once, but I think it got even buffed twice. And I remember testing it out every single time afterwards. It got better and better. This is insanely strong. Like, this squad makes basically the $50 premium paratroopers obsolete. Because I'd rather play this than the other one. Yeah, the other one is a Thompson with 100 rounds. But guess what? I'd rather have this fucking machine gun than a Thompson with 100 rounds, yeah? So, absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Yep, so yeah, this is what you get as an American. Then for Germans, ironically enough, Americans had more, at least I had more German American event squads than German ones, because I had to hide a few of these that were too bad. So yeah, for the Germans, you had also these anti-tank gunners with, once again, 2 bad rifle overall, not really useful. Then you had the Flak Panzer 1. Yes, a rare Panzer 1 hull. With a quickly overheating 20mm. Emphasis lies on quickly overheating because Gaijin, of course, while being drunk in office, forgot to remove overheating from this thing after removing overheating from the normal anti-air guns. Of course, it was a retarded idea to put overheating on them in the first place, but yep, that's what once again happens if you listen to retards who don't understand power levels and balance. But yeah, here's the thing, everyone wants the Wirbelwind and Ostwinds and Kugelblitz versions of these things. And this is another thing everyone wants, yeah, anti-air tanks, SPAS, self-propelled anti-air stuff. Then we get the paratrooper squad. Actually, this one isn't that good, the weapon actually sucks. That weapon actually sucks. It's ugly as fuck, it has a boring sound. And it isn't good, but still a paratrooper squad, why not? Then this squad I never played, because it has an ugly ass gun. This is literally as ugly as it basically gets. And yeah, it's nothing special, but still, it's the equivalent of the Soviet squad with the fancy camo. The Germans sadly don't get fancy camo. Yes, they get this, but still, once again, same thing applies. If you're a new player, this is a viable BR5 weapon. It's not just too good because you get the STGs and the tech tree, but still, you save yourself a lot of time and a lot of money. You're saving yourself like 100,000 silver if you play this squad instead of buying 6 perfect soldiers and 6 perfect weapons. Yeah, this is very good. Then, one of the best looking, possibly the best looking squad in the game, the silenced MP40 squad. Yes, more silenced weapons, please. Silenced MP40s were very rare because they were basically, it wasn't too easy to fit the suppressor on them, and it didn't last for long. You constantly had to change it, to clean it and so on. But still, they were used on a few dozen soldiers. There were a few. There's one confirmed secret unit that used these, and there are 2 pictures I found, and you can Google them in documents, that show soldiers with these weapons in their hands. Like real soldiers in the field, not just experimental. So yeah, they were real, and very fun to use. Very insanely fun to use. Sadly, it's BR2 instead of BR1, even though suppressed weapons get all damage nerfs in Enlisted. But most importantly, this camo is just fucking cool. It's fucking cool, and you know what's all not cool? This camo exists for many different versions. Yep. But only for this squad. There's literally around 20 specific camos made that you can put on these dudes, creating hundreds of different combinations, but only on this squad. Gaijin doesn't open this camo to normal soldiers. Now that sucks. That fucking sucks, because how much money do you think people would pay to just put this scum on all their soldiers? A lot. Nope, Gaijin don't want your money though. Then, this squad, the only good thing that came out of the recent April event, I think it was. No, it was the Halloween event from last year. Well, it's completely immersion breaking due to the unrealistic nonsense, but this is actually highly playable because it's basically a perfect engineer squad. It lacks one dude, but you get 2 engineers, a radio man, so everything you need, and a tank gunner for good measure, and an assaulter, which makes it even more playable because now you have something strong offensive wise. And you get all the engineer structures, and if you play the squad on BR1, you get a machine HMG nest together with the other structures, making it a perfect way to get an HMG on BR1. So yep, amazing. Usually you need to play a machine gunner squad on BR1, but you can't use the machine guns, so you have to run around with 3 naked riflemen, because machine guns are not BR1. But this, yeah, this slaps. That was quite a cool squad. Very underrated, that's why I keep promoting it, so people actually use it in their BR1 armies. Especially for new players, this was quite the boon. Only downside is you can't remove this ugly ass fucking gas mask. Then, MG39, also very cool. This is basically, well, an MG42 prototype with the actually historically accurate fire rate. Now, historically accurate, the fire rate was between 1200 and 1800, depending on the bolt that you put in. If you put a light or a heavier bolt, the fire rate obviously got higher or slower. And depending on where you wanted to use these machine guns, you could just change the bolts in the fields. If you wanted to use them against anti-airs and against planes, you just obviously used light bolts to increase the fire rate, to increase the chance to hit planes. If you use them against infantry, you don't profit from too high fire rates. You just waste too much bullets and get too much recoil, so they just used the heavier bolts. But Germany basically never went under 1400. 1200 was also sometimes used, but yeah, like especially on longer distances, you want the 1400, and this weapon has it. It sadly only has 50 bullets, but still, for an event squad, I played that squad when it came out. It was very fun. It came out with Regev, I think, and yep, machine gun squad with all the structures, also HMG. Very cool to use, very cool weapons, very nice. Then the German assault engineer squad, which has the special of a fortified helmet. So if you have a very thick skull but not thick enough to stop bullets, this actually literally stops bullets. It reduces headshot damage by 95%. So it's for this soldier, and also neck damage. Yeah, even though it doesn't cover the neck, it also functions like that. So with this squad, you don't want to take bullets into your body, you want to literally tank bullets with your face, because you will actually survive multiple of these. Yep, this is very fun. Obviously perfect to sit behind machine gun nests and just take bullets into your face because you survived them. Yeah, very good. Also comes with all the flexibility of the assault engineer class. Insanely cool. Then German paratroopers. These came together with the American machine gun paratroopers, and they offered FG-42 grenade launchers. Now, back then they were playable. They were good and playable. Now they just suck. Why? Because they used the worse FG-42 version, and the grenade launcher got completely unplayable because, once again, dumb fucks whined and complained. And unless you're a very good player, this will actually make you worse, because you need to perfectly know and predict the game regarding when you want to equip the grenade launcher or not. Most often, no matter how good you are, it will be too slow and cost you too much time trying to use the grenade launcher, and you will die, instead of just shooting at enemies the normal way. So this is literally a trap squad, because instead of using fucking quantum mechanics, calculating whether it makes more sense to have the grenade launcher on or the normal one, You can just use another squad. Yeah, so, but still, very useful squad if you're a new player. Because, once again, Paratrooper squad's always useful. And then, you get the Sonderkraftfahrzeug 259, basically the German standard APC with a little Stummel 75mm cannon. Yep. This is exactly what players want, as I implied before. Event APCs with some cool gimmicks. And this gimmick is literally a good cannon. Don't expect to kill tanks unless they're very weak, but you kill infantry very reliably, and you drive around. And you have, well, you have the penalty of only 4 dudes, and most importantly, no radio man. Very big nerf, but still, this is basically exactly what most of the players want from events. So yeah, this was also one of the prime event prizes. And then for the Japanese, I don't even have to leave out squads, because there's literally not that many event squads for the Japanese. We have the rocket artillery, we have this cringe Halloween stuff, we have paratroopers for BR1. Well, this weapon is one of the worst weapons in the game, sadly, but still, 3 paratroopers, why not? We had this squad that comes with these cool flags on the rifles. Sadly, also a very weak weapon. Even worse than the previous one. Look at this fire rate. And sadly, you cannot put these flags on all of your rifles, otherwise the Japanese would look insanely cool. But quite the cool squad. I mean, it has flavor on BR1. And you also got the the fuel tank plane. Keep in mind, this was insanely good when it came out. It had lots of relevance because it was it was actually the best plane the Japanese had, especially on BR3. It was so good you even had to play it on BR4 because the Japanese had basically no good stuff at all in the vehicle tree, so including tanks and planes. So yeah, that used to be very good, mostly due to the flying characteristics. Look at this turn rate, out of this world, and possibly the best turn rate in the whole game. I think there's a biplane with 10 seconds, but still insanely good, and also high firepower for the weak Japanese planes. So that was very much needed. It helped many Japanese players a lot. Well, that's a short history look at the event squads that Gaijin used to give out for Enlisted players. Now, what is the summary? Well, we need more good event squads like in the past. So, that's my conclusion. What is your conclusion and what are your thoughts? Write in the comments. And make sure to join tomorrow's live stream where we're going to play in custom games. 10 vs 10 on 45 District to prepare for the Spooktober tournament on Saturday this weekend. So make sure you join, either play or watch, and comment. And until soon, make sure you drop a like and share this video with others to inform players how good you actually deserve it to have Enlisted. And of course subscribe if you're new, and until next time, goodbye.